I made this tiny welder actually look like it was working, using a stupidly simple LED setup. For the junkyard podracer, here's exactly how I did it. First, I needed a power source, so I picked up these pre-wired battery holders from Amazon. They hold 2 AA batteries, have a nice little slide-on cover, and even have an on-off switch built in. They're available for less than $10 for a pack of 6. Next, we needed the actual lights. I used this variety pack of pre-wired LED lights that came in various sizes. For this build, I used the smallest ones. I just went with the white ones because you can just brush a little thin paint on them to change the color if you want, like this. For most applications where you just want simple lights, you can usually stop there. But for this welder, I needed it to flicker. So I cannibalized one of my wife's LED candles and gracefully extracted this remote control flicker PCB. It didn't flicker as fast as a real welder, but it did just enough to get the point across. For your build, you might need some extra wire too, and in that case, you generally want to match or exceed the thickness of the wire coming from the battery pack. Of course, you'll need a soldering iron, and in my experience, any one that gets hot enough will work, like this one, which was less than $25. Everything used for this is linked in the description. For the space welder, I used a few pieces from a 1/48 scale Flak 38 kit. One piece was an ammunition box, and I just added a mechanical looking greebly on it. The emitter was actually a spray gun sourced from an Italeri field tool shop kit, but an in-scale weapon with the barrel cut off would probably work too. Since actual welders have large wires running from the case to the emitter, I figured I would simply just leave these wires exposed and paint them black, and it just so happened that the wires were perfectly sized for 1/72 scale. With those pieces planned out, all that was left was planning the wiring. I started off this project by selecting a gesso board for the base because it has some space underneath it that is perfect for hiding wiring and battery packs. It's always easiest to kind of lay things out to see how they fit first, then make your connections later. I figured I would superglue the battery box to the bottom of the gesso board here. It can be kind of a challenge to put it in a spot where both the battery cover and switch are accessible, but if you need to, you can mount a separate switch elsewhere. You would just have to plan for that wiring into the circuit. Before soldering, it's always wise to mock up the connections either by holding them or by taping them together to make sure the circuit works, powering on and off like you want them to. If you really know electricity, then right about now you'll probably be typing a comment that I need to include resistors and explain the difference between wiring in series and in parallel, but for a novice like me, this works just fine. Of course, you should never hold high voltage wires, but at 3.5 volts, you're probably not going to feel these. Again, just a novice modeler here, not a veteran electrician or anything, but I do know that when you solder, the goal is to heat the parts you're soldering and then let capillary action suck the solder into the gaps. If you try to melt the solder and then drop it onto your connection, then you'll end up with a bunch of solder stuck to your tool and a loose connection. After all your connections are made, your model or diorama has lights. Since my flicker board came from a remote control LED candle, I also have this handy remote that I can use to turn the effect on and off. This is how it turned out in my build. Real quick before we wrap up, the 250 sub giveaway winner is Mr. What Zuck. Your Tamiya Jagdtiger is on the way to you right now. And for everyone else, don't worry, more giveaways are coming. If you want to dive deeper into lighting, I've linked a few creators in the description who are way more advanced than I am at this. Check them out and let them know who sent you. And seriously, thanks for all the support on the Y-Wing podracer build. That one took off in a way I just didn't expect. There will definitely be a lot more full diorama builds coming, but you can also expect videos like this, where I dive deeper into little specific elements or techniques used in each build. That's it for this one, but always remember, don't just build models, build stories.